Okay, let us continue with it. The cash operating cycle. Okay, the cash operating cycle is the period of time which elapses between the point at which cash begins to be expended on the production of a product and the collection of cash from customer. All right, the cash operating cycle in manufacturing business equals to. Okay, all right, so that it is the cash operating cycle in a manufacturing business is equals to the average time that raw materials remain in inventory less uh, the time taken to pay suppliers, that is period of credit taken from suppliers, then add the time taken to produce the goods plus the time taken by customers to pay for the goods, and finally we get our cash cycle. All right, so if the turnover period for the inventories and account receivables is lengthy, it's higher, that is inventories and receivables levels increase, or the payment period to accounts payable shortens, that is payables level falls, then the cash operating cycle will lengthen, will increase, and the investment in working capital will increase. All right. Okay, now let's do the example. And first of all, let's read the requirement. Calculate Anusha Company cash operating cycle. Anusha Company buys raw material from suppliers that allow Anusha Company 2.5 months credit. The raw material remains in inventory for 1 month, and it takes Anusha Company 2 months to produce the goods. The goods are sold within couple of days of production being completed, and customers take an average 1.5 months required. Calculate Anusha Company cash operating cycle, right? So we can uh, we can ignore the time that finished goods are in inventory as it is not more than a couple of days. Okay, so first of all, the average time that raw material remain in inventory, 1 month. Okay, uh, less the time taken in to pay suppliers, it's here 2.5 months, right? The time taken to produce the goods, it's 2 months. So the add the time taken to produce goods, 2 months. Okay, add the time taken by customers to pay for the goods. Simple and easy. It's 1.5. So 1 minus 2.5 plus 2 plus 1.5. We got 2 months. This is our cash cycle. The company's cash operating cycle is obviously 2 months. This Okay, now we need to learn the liquidity ratios to as liquidity ratios can indicate how the liquidity of the organization is overall, uh, is in, is it in the good condition or the worst condition. All right, it also may help to indicate whether company is overcapitalized, all right, with excessive working capital, or if a business is likely, or if business is likely to fail, right? A business which is trying to do too much too quickly with too long term working capital is over trading. So first of all, there are various type of liquidity ratios, and here first of all we have current ratio, all right, which is current assets divided by current liabilities. The current ratios help us to assess whether company have enough current assets to pay its current liabilities. All right, then we have quick ratio. Okay, and the quick ratio is current assets less inventories uh, divided by current liabilities. Current assets less inventories divided by current liabilities, and here the quick ratio help us to assess that except for inventories, do we have enough current assets to pay off our current liabilities, right? Next ratio we have is account receivable payment period. Account receivable payment period. Okay, and the formula for is trade receivable divided by credit sales multiplied by 365 days, 365 days. Okay, and it helps us to assess that how many days it took us to get our receivables from the customers. All right, and obviously if it is too high, that means we are struggling to take our money back from the customers, and it's not a good sign. Then we have inventory turnover period. Okay, inventory turnover period, cost of sales divided by uh, inventory turnover period, sorry, inventory turnover, it's inventory turnover forward cost of sales divided by average inventory. uh, for average inventory we can calculate it by uh, inventory divided by 2. Okay, for inventory turnover period can be computed by inventory divided by cost of sales multiply by 365, and it helps us to assess that how many days it took us to convert our inventory into cash. All right, if it's less, if it's low, then it's good, but if it's too high, then it's not good for the business. Then we have lastly accounts payable payment period. It's trade payables divided by cost of sales multiply by 365 days, and accounts payable payment period help to assess a company liquidity, that how many days it took us to pay it to our suppliers. All right, here the higher the payable period, it's good for the business, but too much high payable period is also not good, as it can affect the goodwill of the business, and suppliers may later on not willing to pay us, give us on good on credit, right? So far so good, guys. uh, Keep it till here, and in next session I will do with the examples for this working capital ratios.